Giving it another shot. Have I got audio? Come on, come on, come on. Yes, it looks like I have audio coming through. If you can hear me, say so. Yeah, okay. Hey, Ruth Ann. I heard a yay, and that, I'm guessing, means that you guys can hear me. Is my audio coming through? Anybody? Yes, we are back. It is Friday, and my computer just decided it's casual Friday. If you're wearing pajama pants, I'm not working. This is how it works. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Casey. Hey, Ruth Ann. Hey, at random. Hey, Robin. Hey, Cam. Hey, I can't. That's now Periscope is hiding your name from me. Whoever has I'm guessing that's Japanese or Korean writing, whatever that is. Hello, good to see you here. Hello, Betty Sue. Hello, Blinker. Sorry about the technical glitches. This is what happens when I say, for example, hey everybody, I'll be live at 1:30 Pacific time. Tune in then. And I sit down to put everything together. That's when there's a team of people at Microsoft who are watching my tweet stream, and when they see that, they say, okay, Windows Update release, let's go. And everything shuts down. Hey, fine. Okay, Marcy, good to see you. So we got a bunch of stuff to cover today. I had a wonderful intro prepared for you. It was actually, I was very happy with it, and it did not work. And then everything started up and everything was turned on like it's supposed to be. I have a checklist. I was doing the checklist and no audio, which is probably better for everyone involved. Honestly, I don't know how I can do this. I can't keep up with the president. He's nonstop. I spoke to Kellyanne Conway yesterday. I didn't believe it, but she actually granted me an interview, which was like, I'm a nobody, right? But I spoke to Kellyanne Conway and I asked her how the president keeps up with his busy schedule.
Tens of thousands of pounds of cocaine, of marijuana, of other drugs.
There you go. That was essentially the intro, except it would have been edited and put together nicely, and that's what you guys missed. So let's get rid of her. I'm still operating left-handed today. Let me put on my headphones. Is it Mercury? Is that what it is? Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Barb. Good to see we're not too late for Barbara in Belgium. I've Belgium. I've updated the some of the credits at the end. Haven't seen everyone in here yet. Hey, Kathleen. Let's get going with the interview from Hannity with President Trump from yesterday. I haven't watched this yet, so let's do this together.
Came out with an ad. The issue of law and order and safety and security are now key in this country. We'll go over Joe Biden's comments, but your campaign released this ad. I'm of the view that nobody pursues happiness if you're not safe and secure.
Dust. I'm my nephew. Dust double checking. Can everybody hear him? Could everybody hear Hannity? In which case I'll turn it off. But let me know if you guys can hear him before we get going too far today, because I was just playing the Hannity, and I want to make sure that he's going through. Chat is delayed. Let me log into YouTube over here. This is what happens when you're live, people. This is the excitement. Okay, Casey, it looks like you guys can hear him. Good. Let's keep going with him.
Let's roll tape.
You see, they can roll tape because they've got people helping them. Hannity, all the people from Fox are broadcasting at home until at least the middle of June. Get on back to school, kids. We're at home.
Reached the 911 police emergency line. Due to defunding of the police department, we're sorry, but no one is here to take your call. If you're calling to report a rape, please press 1. To report a murder, press 2. To report a home invasion, press 3. For all other crimes, leave your name and number, and someone will get back to you. Our estimated wait time is currently 5 days. Goodbye.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Yes, I'm calling to report a rape. Am I supposed to do that if I'm the one who's actually doing... No, hold on. Yeah, that's what's going on right there. And that's exactly what I said would happen as soon as everybody was, defund the police, defund the police. Seattle just defunded. They took away 50% of the police budget in Seattle. They haven't officially yet, but there's enough council members so that even if Jenny Durkin, the mayor, doesn't vote to defund the police by 50%, there's enough council members, because there's some crazy council members in Seattle, to go ahead and do that. Now, it's not really defunding the police. They're going to take that 50%, and for example, part of that 50% will separate 911 from the police. It's just a budgetary thing, but they want to be able to say like, oh, we're defunding the police. We're defunding the police. So, hey, Danielle, good to see you. So all of this is happening. Anyway, so now we've got this ad. Let's go on with Trump.
Mr. President, I'm going to read the comments of Joe Biden, if I may. He said, surplus military equipment for law enforcement. By the way, they used it in Ferguson and Baltimore. They don't need that. The last thing you need is an up-armored Humvee coming into a neighborhood. I haven't noticed that. It's like a military invading. They don't know anybody. They've become the enemy. They're supposed to be protecting the people. Then asked about funding. Do you agree we can redirect the funding? Absolutely. Okay. Mr. President, I would argue that no American could be happy if they're not safe and secure or pursue happiness without safety and security.
Well, I agree with that 100%. And we need safety, we need security. We can't defund our police, and we can't abolish our police. They want to abolish our police. And as far as the surplus equipment, I've given out hundreds of millions of dollars. This is stuff that was sitting in storage houses all over the country. It wasn't even old, but it was never going to be used again. It was gathering dust, and I gave it out to all of our police forces all over the country, saved many, many police lives, and many lives, I think, period. It was really, a lot of it was protective equipment, and I know that President Obama and Biden didn't want to give it out. They thought it was terrible to give it out. It made the police look too strong, and I gave it out, and I have been thanked by every police department.
Mr. President, while the Summer of Love zone turned into a shooting zone, and I'm going to run some videotape. One is a man shot while walking a 6-year-old little girl in the Bronx in New York, assassinated in broad daylight. Another, a gunman opened fire in a Bronx apartment building. Then I'll show on this very show live, our own Steve Harrigan interviewing protesters that took over a city block in Atlanta. That resulted in the death of an 8-year-old girl 2 weeks later. You see what's happening. Shootings up, violent crime is up, murder is up, 130% shootings up in New York City. You see the statistics in Chicago every weekend. How do you react to that?
Well, first of all, New York City is not recognizable. Crime is way up. Shootings are way up. Murder is way up. It's just unbelievable. Chicago, what's going
This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
on in Chicago, and we are looking at it very seriously because we're going to have to do something. We've asked them, we're really supposed to be.
Thank you, guys. So the system's just doing what it's doing. So rather than starting and stopping all over again, doing a whole computer reset and making Microsoft happy, we're just gonna try and power through this. So like this day. It's going to be that. So thank you very much for letting me know that you guys couldn't hear me. I can see my levels are back on, and it looks like I'm back on. So I'm having to reset constantly on my end. I want to keep the broadcast going. If worse comes to worse, we will restart the broadcast, and hopefully some of you will come back. For those of you watching for the first time, hi. It's usually 8% more professional than this. So thank you for joining us. If you'd like to get in the chat room there, the best place to chat is, well, wherever you can chat, whatever platform you're using, or go to youtube.com/KevinLeeFather. As well, while you're there, sign up for YouTube alerts by subscribing to me and clicking the little bell next to, once you hit subscribe on my channel, there will be a little bell that pops up. Ask your teenager and they'll tell you how to do it. Okay, so let's get back to Hannity here. So again, we're going to power through.
Asked to come in and help the federal government, and we have the greatest people in the world, and we can solve it. But we're supposed to be asked, so the mayor or the governor of Illinois should be asking, but they don't want to ask. And you look every weekend and every week in Chicago, it's just numbers that are not believable.
Well, they're completely believable. We have a violence problem in this country. We have a gun problem in this country. Back in right after President Trump took office, he said he was going to go in and fix the problem in Chicago if Chicago didn't fix the problem. Still, nothing has happened.
Atlanta's starting to have some problems. So we're ready to act, and at some point we may have to act anyway.
Hey,
we
Chris.
may have to do it sooner
Joanna.
rather than later.
Let's talk about the issue of acting. I had a source that told me, I was not able to confirm it, that one of the reasons that the Seattle mayor finally acted is that they were given notice that if they didn't act, that you were going to. Is there any truth to that?
100%. We were going in very soon. We let them know that, and they all of a sudden, they didn't want that. So they went in before we got there, but we were going in very shortly, very soon, and we would have taken the chop, I call it chop. We would have taken it back very easily, but they went in, and frankly, the people just gave up. They were tired. They had it for a long period of time, but because of the
So they did a good job going in. Is that what you're saying?
fact that we were going to go in. Now, if you look at Minneapolis, after 4 or 5 days of our
reminder, it's the governors that call the National Guard in. And in Seattle, the National Guard wasn't called in. They just took 100 police officers and said, okay, you guys had your 3 blocks in a soccer pitch for a couple of weeks. We're done with this now. And just clean the place up. It was in the morning. Nobody was even awake. They just, moved all the concrete barriers, and that was that. And that was the end of CHOP.
we called them. We said, you got to get out the National Guard. We insisted that they do it. When the National Guard finally got out, they walked through it like a knife goes through butter. That was the end of their problem. That was it. It was a great job done by the National Guard. And, we were all set to go into Seattle. Frankly, I looked forward to it.
Mr. President, Joe Biden was vice president for 8 years. Barack Obama's hometown is Chicago. Every weekend, we get these statistics. Lawrence Jones, who is our 2020 reporter on this program, actually interviewed the father. He lost a 7-year-old little girl. I don't know how you recover from something like that.
You don't.
But Biden and Barack Obama, President Obama, Vice President Biden, they barely ever talked about the violence in Barack Obama's hometown. What specifically can you do? I know you've offered to help New York.
New York is Trump's hometown. And they started this segment by talking about how violent New York has become. What does Chicago have to do with being Obama's hometown? And Biden isn't Obama. This is just a fragrant example, because it smells like shit, quite frankly, of the idiocy. I'm done. I'm having technical difficulties. I'm waiting for a Microsoft update myself. You guys get what I'm saying.
City. I know you've offered to help Chicago. I know you offered to help Seattle. I know you did help Minneapolis, and you did help D.C. But when they keep refusing your help, what are your options?
So first of all, I saw the interview, and he was a lovely man. I spoke to him at length.
Well, Barack's from Hawaii, but his hometown, he settled in Chicago. So
with his friend, who's a great guy too.
Horace Lorenzo Anderson, yes, sir. His son
killed. I
killed.
actually invited them down to the White House at some point when they get adjusted, because it is so tough. I mean, what he's going through is so tough, and he was treated very badly. They didn't even tell him what had happened, when it had happened. Very sad thing. But I did speak to him, and I had a great but very sad conversation. And so he'll be coming down. When he's ready, he'll be coming down to the White House. I will say, look, they have to be tough. They have to be smart. What's going on there? And, the Chicago police is terrific. The New York police, New York's finest, they're just not being allowed to do their job. They don't want to do anything because they'll end up with lots of bad things happening to them. They're not letting them do the job. And I dealt a lot with Mayor de Blasio. I was very nice to Mayor de Blasio. I got him ventilators when he needed them. I got him hospital help when he needed it.
What was that?
I got him everything he needed. I got him end up with lots of bad things happening to him.
Watch, there's a yellow arrow
They're not letting
on the
him do the job. And I dealt a lot with Mayor de Blasio. I was very nice to Mayor de Blasio.
There's a gun.
I got him ventilators when he needed them. I got him hospital help when he needed it.
Out of that car.
I got him everything he needed. I got him the gowns. I got him the masks.
Hold on. Let's
I
go
got
back
him
one more
everything.
time.
The sheet. letting them do the job. And I dealt a lot with Mayor de Blasio.
See the yellow arrow?
Nice
right there. Here comes the yellow arrow. See the yellow arrow in this area right here? Hold on. I'm going to move this for you guys because you can't see that. It brings up an interesting point. Let me move that. Give me one moment, please. Okay, I can grab it and move it over for you. Okay, this is what we're looking at right here. There's a car driving by, and a hand pops out. So here's what we need to do. We need to address the problem. People have cars. If nobody had cars, we wouldn't have, what would we call this type of violence? I'm at a loss. Let's move on.
I got him ventilators when he needed them. I got him hospital help when he needed it. I got him everything he needed. I got him the gowns. I got him the masks. I got him everything, the shields. I got that man everything. I spoke to him many times. He couldn't have been nicer. And then he throws a big Black Lives Matter sign right down in the middle of Fifth Avenue, and all merchants along Fifth Avenue are furious. They're furious. And the whole city is furious. The city is a city that's enraged. And
yeah, they put a Black Lives Matter. You can see the video there. They painted it right down Fifth Avenue in front of Trump Tower. And he's upset because it really screws up his aim.
It was almost a test, Sean. But I was so good to him and to Governor Cuomo like nobody's ever been good. And all you end up doing out of that place is get prosecuted and have a lot of trouble. So New York is not the place that it was. Everyone's leaving. They're moving to Florida.
All that comes out of New York is they prosecute you. You know, I'm sure all of you have been prosecuted by New York recently. They prosecute everybody.
Moving to other places. It's very sad, actually, to see what happened.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm the only idiot that stays here. I need to get my contract changed so I can get the hell out of here myself, to be honest. You know, in 1984...
Again, he's broadcasting from home.
The question came up, especially after the first debate President Reagan had at the time with Walter Mondale.
That is a great point, Robin, and that's apparently true. Some of the Central Park 5. I think it was 4. But anyway, some of the Central Park 5 that Trump wanted put to death before they were exonerated by further evidence back in the day, they actually helped paint Black Lives Matter. And Trump took out a full-page ad, I think in the New York Times at the time, calling for the death penalty for the Central Park 5 who were accused of violating a woman. I don't want to get into the details. He said they should all die. And they were exonerated.
The age question. Let me play a montage of, let's say, not some of the finest moments of Joe Biden, and I want your reaction. And the question will be, does he have the mental alertness? Does he have the strength and stamina? What I believe is the hardest job in the world. It's not what I do. Being president, I would argue, is a hell of a lot harder, but here's Joe Biden.
The scale of the loss is staggering. I don't know whose phone that is, but the scale of the loss is staggering. It's been 2 months since Congress gave him that money.
Yeah, somebody's phone went off. How does that reflect on Joe Biden's ability to comprehend things? He wasn't like, if he'd been like, what is hap? Is that you, God? No. He said, I don't know whose phone that is. You could hear a phone going off. This is the best they've got. That's the lead in the Hannity program of how nutso Joey. He doesn't know where he is. Hold on, my fish is calling me. Sparkles, are you okay? What?
Introduce me. Am I on? Yes. Hey, good evening, Tampa. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Okay, having technical difficulties here. I never have technical difficulties, so I don't want this is I can't relate to this guy, but
look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday, and I want to thank you all. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. My name is Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
For those of you who don't know, since childhood, Joe Biden has had a stuttering problem and has worked to overcome it. We've seen Trump's gaffes on a daily basis. I don't know why they're going here. I don't think anyone's buying it except the base, and you can't win with just the base. I think the independents have learned better.
Look me over. You're letting me help out. If you agree with me, go to Joe 30330.
This was funny, but he's a grandfather. And let's keep in mind, Trump doesn't know how to use the Moy. They're going to put together a montage about me. Trump doesn't know how to use email. That's why there's never any, oh, look what Trump said in his email. He just doesn't do it. He doesn't use email. He uses not pen and paper, Sharpie and paper.
Choose truth over facts. Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear words. Poor kids are just...
It was a thing to play the record player on overnight or a cassette on overnight. And when Biden's kids were kids, that's something that would have been quite commonplace. And they're still saying it today. Play Mozart for your kid or whatever.
Bright and just as talented as white kids. Donald Trump does pose an extra threat to this. It's not hypothetical. Why in God's name should someone who's clipping coupons in the stock market in fact, pay a lower tax rate than someone who, in fact, is, like I said, a school teacher and a firefighter?
I think my personal favorite is, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created and women are created equal by the thing. You know the thing. That would be God who created everything. But, Mr. President, in your view, does he have the alertness, trying to be charitable here, the strength and stamina? You're in the job. I would argue the toughest job in the world. That's my position. I've held that for many decades.
Well, I don't think it's the age, because I was with Bernie Marcus. I think he's 91. He's so sharp. He's as sharp as ever. He's great.
I don't think it's the age. He's as sharp as ever. Hannity didn't mention age.
The founder of Home Depot, one of the founders, great guy. And I deal with other people in their late 80s, early 90s, and they're 100% mentally so sharp. Sheldon Adelson is an example, and others, many others I could, and they're mentally 100%. But Joe,
again, Hannity didn't mention age.
Is just, look, let's face it, he's been taken over by the radical left. He has no clue what they're doing and what they're getting him into. This is worse than Bernie Sanders at his best. And you look at the deal they made with Bernie Sanders now in the group, it's all crazy radical left stuff. And Joe's never going to be able to fight it, even if he disagreed with it, which I actually don't think he does. I think there's an old expression was used badly a long time ago in politics. I think they brainwashed him. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what he's doing.
What?
Never going to be able to fight.
There's an old expression. I kept waiting for the expression because I knew he was going to get the expression wrong. Whatever it was, here's his expression.
Even if he disagreed with it, which I actually don't think he does. I think there's an old expression was used badly a long time ago in politics. I think they brainwashed him.
That's the expression? They brainwashed? That's not an expression. That's...
He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what he's doing. And our country will suffer. Our stock markets will crash. Bad things will happen. They will defund the police. They will...
Well, he's got a point there, because nothing bad has happened under Trump.
Abolish the police. It will be maybe a backlash, or maybe it'll just go to hell like Venezuela.
See you later, Cam.
You hear stories now, and Thomas Friedman in the New York Times is wanting to now create all new conditions for Joe Biden to agree to debate you. Now, he apparently says that he has many cognitive tests. He's tested all the time cognitively.
No, that's not what he said, and you guys know that. I'll look that up, but that is not what Biden said. In fact, I think I probably have it right here. Let's see. Of course I don't have it. Yeah, here it is. Have you had a cognitive test? Here it is.
Last question real quick. Some have speculated,
You're a lying dog,
that you are subject to some degree of cognitive decline. I'm 65. I don't have word recollection that I used to have. I forget my train of thought from time to time. You got 12 years on me, sir. Have you been tested for some degree of cognitive decline?
I've been tested and I'm constantly tested. Look, all I got.
Yeah, he wasn't saying that he constantly takes cognitive tests. He's saying, I have to deal with this idiocy on a regular basis. If I didn't have my cognition about me, I wouldn't be able to. This barrage is constant. And Hannity thinks that he was saying that he's taken lots and lots of cognitive tests. Somebody's got a cognition problem.
Maybe he'll release those records, and maybe he'll release his medical records. Everybody wants to seemingly see everything about you. Now, would you agree to any new conditions, or does he have to debate like it's always happened? And do you think he's...
The conditions are, as Joe stated the other day on stage, just let's play by the rules we've always played by. 3 debates, blah, 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 appointed by the debate council. I mean, they're not demanding anything new as far as I know. I mean, I'm imagining it'll be like, we have to be separate. And oh my God, it would be so amazing if they do this remotely, that they're not in the same room with each other. That would be awesome. And that they just do it on Zoom so that one mic cuts off when the other person is speaking. You're the puppet, no puppet.
Trying to back out of debating you.
Well, yeah, the answer is yes, absolutely. But, he meant the COVID tests. The COVID test. He didn't mean cognitive. He meant COVID.
No, he said cognitive. I'm pretty sure he went on to...
He didn't mean that because, you don't have those tests that often. He said, I take them all the time.
No, he didn't. We covered this before. Same press conference, just a few minutes earlier, he said...
Subject, you have been doing these public events for the past month, which has put you in contact with more people. Have you been tested for coronavirus? And if so, how frequently are you doing that?
No, I have not been protected. I have not been tested for the coronavirus for 2 reasons. One, I've had no symptoms, as my mother would say, knock on wood. And number 2, I haven't wanted to take anybody else's place in the...
Yeah, same press conference. Just a few minutes early, he explained, no, I haven't been tested. And yet Trump still believes that he wasn't saying he was... That's how limited the comprehension ability of President Trump is. Not only doesn't he get I get tested for cognitive ability all the time because I have to put up with this nonsense, he has to assign it something. He thinks he's being clever by saying, oh no, he doesn't mean those tests. He means the COVID test, which is not what he was asked about. He's insane. The man is an idiot. Hi, Linda.
And no, he meant COVID, but I think he was confused by the question and the words and everything else. He didn't mean that because he hasn't taken any cognitive tests because he couldn't pass one. I actually took one when I very recently when I was, the radical left was saying, is he all there? Is he all there? And I proved I was all there because I aced it. I aced the test. And he should take the same exact test, a very standard test. I took it at Walter Reed Medical Center in front of doctors, and they were very surprised. They said, that's an unbelievable thing. Rarely does anybody do what you just did. But he should take that same test. But no, he has been totally taken over, and I think it's because he doesn't understand what's going on.
Let's just break that down for a second. He took a cognitive test in November when he went for phase 1 of his medical, just to happen, hey, let's take a cognitive test, and he aced it. And he took it because the far left was saying, hey, you've got something with your cognition, and then he kept it secret for 8 months, because that's what you do. Oh, boy. Let's take a look at Sarah Cooper on how to cognition.
When I very recently, because he hasn't taken any cognitive tests because he couldn't pass one. I actually took one when I very recently when I was, the radical left was saying, is he all there? Is he all there? And I proved I was all there because I aced it. I aced the test. And he should take the same exact test, a very standard test. I took it at Walter Reed Medical Center in front of doctors, and they were very surprised. They said, that's an unbelievable thing. Rarely does anybody do what you just did. But he should take that same test. But because he hasn't taken any cognitive tests because he couldn't pass one. I actually took one when I very recently.
That's just it's never not going to be funny.
When
I'll stop it. It's the
when I was
Sarah, behave yourself. There we go. Like Eric and Don Jr. on SNL, I will laugh every single time that Eric just watches Don and repeats his hand gestures. Always makes me laugh. Always makes me laugh. At Random says maybe he had a minor stroke and that's why he went to Walter Reed and they gave him a cognitive test. That has been the conspiracy theory. And the longer it goes, the more I believe it.
And I watched him today. I watched him over the last couple of weeks. And, I look forward to debating him, but it looks like he wants to try and get out of the debates. I think we're doing very well in the polls. I think if you look at the different states, I think we're doing...
I don't think he said he wanted to get out of the debates. Let's go back to that, and I think it's actually on the same thing. Hold on.
Last question, real quick. Some have
tested, and I'm constantly testing. Look,
constantly testing.
All I got to do is watch me, and I can hardly wait to compare my cognitive capability to the cognitive capability of the man I'm running against. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that sounds like he's scared of a debate.
Doing very well. We're rapidly rising. I was with the president of Mexico yesterday. We had an incredible day. We have tremendous Hispanic support. We have tremendous African-American support.
8%.
I think we have great support, period. You look at the votes, you look at the bikers, you look at everything that's happening in our country. There's great spirit. Spirit like nobody's ever seen before.
Boats. We've got the support of the boaters.
Actually. And there's no spirit for Joe.
Let me ask you about the recent rise in outbreaks. And we had talked about this all throughout the beginning of coronavirus, and that was that Dr. Oz said it often on both radio and TV with me, that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, that there are going to be hot spots and a reemergence, et cetera. We're now seeing such things happen.
That's not what Hannity was saying after they said, let's start opening. He was saying what a fantastic job Florida and Arizona and Texas are doing.
This time in the...
And the hot spots aren't happening. The hysterical left. The mad left media.
Sunbelt,
blowing everything out of proportion.
Florida Governor DeSantis was on. One of the things that he did differently is he went in and protected the nursing homes and the elderly care facilities. He's doing the same. And I was a little bit surprised at the numbers in Florida in terms of the ages of people now that are contracting the virus. Much younger. On the one hand, you don't want anyone to contract it, but on the other hand, we know that the people that are most vulnerable to this virus for severe illness or death are those that are elderly, those with underlying conditions, or those with compromised immune systems, and it does not impact young people anywhere near the way it does older people. What do you make of these hot spots, as we call them, in Florida and Texas and other states, and Dr. Fauci's comments?
Well, first of all, the mortality rate, and Dr. Fauci's a nice man, but he's made a lot of mistakes. Like, you don't have to ban them coming in from very infected China. I did it anyway, and we saved hundreds of thousands of lives. I banned Europe from coming in when Italy and...
It's not what Dr. Fauci said. Dr. Fauci said that's not going to do it by itself. And Dr. Fauci, it turns out, was absolutely correct.
When France and Spain were having all the problems, and we saved hundreds of thousands of lives. A lot of people said, don't do it. They've been wrong about a lot of things, including face masks. Maybe they're wrong, maybe not, but a lot of them said, don't wear a mask, and now they're saying wear a mask. So a lot of mistakes were made, a lot of mistakes. Let me just make one statement, though.
They told Trump at the very beginning, you have to make face masks. Use the Defense Production Act. We need face masks, we need gloves, we need other PPE, personal protective equipment. We need all of this stuff, and you need to use the Defense Production Act to make the factories make all of this stuff. And here we are in July, and hospitals are running out of equipment, and they're all working against each other on the free market, and gloves are costing 20 times what a pair of gloves should cost. And hospital workers will die because they will catch COVID because they don't have personal protective equipment. Nurses, like my sister, who's, thank God, is in Canada, and they've got this thing much more under control. But nurses in the United States, some that I know, have been told that they still have to wear their masks for 2 weeks. These are masks, just the paper N95s that you're supposed to take off and throw away, dispose of in a medical waste basket. After every patient, they're being told, wear them for 2 weeks. There's no excuse for this at this point. When it first came in, oh, you're Trump, you're an idiot, you didn't understand things. He still doesn't understand things. 6 months in, 7 months. We're now 7 months into this thing, and we don't have enough personal protective equipment. 13 states are reporting that they don't have enough testing equipment.
We do testing like nobody's ever done testing. And when we test, the more you test, the more cases you find. Other countries, you know when they test? And I ask them all. They test when somebody's not feeling well or when some...
He asked all the country. First off, China's done way more testing than we have. They tested everybody in the Wuhan area. That's 13 million people in a week.
Somebody walks into a hospital. So they don't have tests. They have tests that are very, very limited. We have these massive 45 million people have been tested. It's 40. A record, and our tests are the best.
40 million tests. Our tests are not the best, and people who get sick get tested multiple times. As producer Joanna was explaining yesterday, her dad had to be tested over and over again in order to finally come up with 2 negative results. So not 40 million people, not even close.
So we have cases all over the place. Most of those cases immediately get better. They get, people, they're young people, they have sniffles, and 2 days later they're fine and they're not sick.
Most of those cases immediately get better. Okay, 17 to 20% of them end up in the hospital, though. So can we concentrate on that?
Just sort of there.
Considering that we have 3 million of them? Okay, we don't have that many. Well, we do. We have way more than that. We just don't know about it.
They're asymptomatic. A lot of things happen, and what we're doing is with all of these tests that we're doing all over the country, everybody test, pull up parking lots, everything else. What we've done is we've created a tremendous number of cases. Everybody else, can you imagine if China tested like we tested?
That is true. We have created an, what did he say? Sorry, guys.
Things happen, and what we're doing is with all of these tests that we're doing all over the country, everybody test, pull up parking lots, everything else. What we've done is we've created a tremendous number of cases.
We've created a tremendous number of cases. That is exactly right. And I will be grabbing that soundbite.
Everybody else.
Yeah, I saw that, Larry. That's very clever. It took me a moment to figure it out, and I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to... Oh.
Can you imagine if China tested like we test? They don't. Can you imagine if...
China tests more than we do, and now we're talking about adapting to do the batch testing like China does. I've explained this before, but if you didn't see it before... By the way, everybody out there who's not in the chat and watching, hi, I appreciate you guys too. China will take 25 people and test them all together in the same vial or however the testing machines work over in China. And if nobody, good, you're all clean. 25 at a time, 25, 50 at a time. But if one of them tests positive, okay, we're going to test all of these individually now. Saves so much time. If we want to open up the schools, it's really that simple. We just get some fast tests every morning or every couple of days or whatever we decide makes sense. We have all the kids spit into a vial, which is what we can do now. The University of Arizona just came out with a spit test that's apparently beautiful. You take a bunch of spit for the classroom, you test that classroom, you move on to the next classroom. If somebody in that classroom has it, boom, you shut things down. It's not that hard to figure out.
Other big countries, the bigger countries tested like or Germany. We've tested many, many, many times, even proportionately, the number of people that...
No, that's a per capita thing, and we know already he doesn't understand any of the per capitas. No, Russia has tested almost as many as we have. And many of the countries don't have to do as much testing because they have the virus under control now.
Other countries have tested. But I was with, as an example, a great gentleman yesterday, the president of Mexico. And they're having a hard time, especially in Mexico City.
Yeah.
They test when somebody's sick or when somebody goes into the hospital. And that's a different way of doing it. And it's just fine. And we are... testing
they're
and
still
creating,
doing it that way in Seattle.
It's the greatest thing that ever happened for the opposite party, but we're doing something that nobody's ever done to the extent, and we're doing a great job. But we have a mortality rate, think of this, that's tenfold better than any other. What we're doing is incredible.
What?
If you look, you've heard the numbers, tenfold. We have fewer people dying, and our people have done an incredible job.
Okay, none of that makes any mathematical sense. Let's go over quickly and take a look at what the country looks like today. If you remember from yesterday, we had some nice orange states or nice yellow states in the middle. This is from COVID exit strategy. I love this because the colors are so vivid and they make it really clear. Before I show this to you, let me just explain. Red is bad. Yellow is getting better. Green is okay, you're doing okay. Here's the United States. Doing a fantastic job, people. Yesterday, we had a whole bunch of states in the middle here that were yellow. We are worse than yesterday. But it's because we're testing. We got to stop the testing.
And
Rich, yesterday was the highest death total since the virus hit California. That is true. Florida just had their highest total. Either Texas or Arizona had their... Several states have hit new records.
We're very well on the way to a vaccine, very well on the way therapeutically. Therapeutics, we're very well on the way. We've got a lot of great things happening.
Yeah, that's a wonderful point, Barb. No, not Barb, Marcy. That, yeah, we've decreased the fatality rate by 1/100th.
We already do. We do have some that are very effective, or at least effective. And a lot of very good things have happened. A lot of really good things. They're doing a great job. But the testing is just showing up all these cases. And if you turn the news on, you'll see it's always the word cases. They don't talk about death because deaths are way down. They talk about cases all the time, cases.
They do talk about
and
deaths.
Those cases get...
I posted this morning. Let me see if I can pull it up for you guys. See if it's updated. Yeah, it's even worse now. Take a look at this, guys. The new deaths over here, right above my head, you can see. Oh, I can use the mouse here. We're starting to climb. That's an issue right here. We had a little bit of a lull because we're looking at the holiday right there and things don't get reported. And then, boom, huge spikes up. And that's because over here, we started going up, and then hospitalization starts going up after that. And now, hopefully, we don't see the deaths start going up. But once you get to the hospital, it's not a good sign.
Better. And they, in most cases, literally in most cases, they automatically cure. They automatically get better.
Joe Biden revealed in a previous rare, a rare appearance out of his basement bunker, but he revealed that everybody around him, including his Secret Service, are tested every day. I know, having interviewed you, for example, before the Wisconsin town hall that we did, that I had to have a test before I got around the president. I think, by the way, that's the right thing to do for both you and Joe Biden. That's my own opinion, but you're the two people that don't need to wear a mask, and there's been a lot made over the fact that, well, Donald Trump doesn't wear a mask. You're the two people, I would argue, that probably don't need to wear the mask, where the rest of the public might benefit from it. I saw it anecdotally I was at the epicenter of this in my local grocery store. They all wore masks, and thank God no cashier and no guy stocking the shelves ever got sick in that store, and I'd ask them every week. What are your thoughts on not only mask wearing, but also do we have enough PPE for Houston and other hot spots as they arise?
Well, we do, and we've done a great job in that. We've created a supply chain that's incredible. On ventilators, we're making thousands a week. On PPE.
Yeah, we're doing a terrible job on PPE. Janet, can I share the video that you sent to me?
We are doing great. We do, but, I think it's fine to wear a mask if it makes you feel comfortable. I think under certain conditions, like when you're going into a hospital, I'll be going to Walter Reed to see some of our great soldiers that have been injured, badly injured, and also see some of our COVID workers, the people that have done such a great job. And I expect to be wearing a mask when I go into Walter Reed. You're in a hospital setting. I think it's a very...
So Jana sent me the video of her kid's school district and how they're planning to reopen. Let me pull it up over on the other screen here. You were watching it for a second there, guys.
Not
so lucky
in our mind or in our plan.
So this is what's going to happen in district after district across the country because people are just the way people are. The video starts, and he seems like a nice enough guy. The video starts with him saying, we're going to compromise. So there's people over here, and there's people over here, so we're going to No, you don't compromise. You do what the science says. So the CDC has given out these guidelines. This is what he thinks about these guidelines and how they're going to do things at this school district because they know better. Give me a second, and here it comes. Here's the guy. Again, seems like a nice guy.
Busing. CDC guidelines right now say that you should have one student per seat, spacing them out every other seat. Again, that's not, in our mind or in our plan, a practical approach to how we're going to do busing.
So we're just not going to do it. Now, he goes on to say, we're going to ask parents, if you can bring your kids to school, please bring them to school. But the CDC has put out guidelines for a reason. I know they're tremendously expensive, according to Trump. But this is what happens when you compromise. You can't do that. There's reasons for the safety precautions. And that reason would be, hold on, I'll think of it, safety.
Appropriate thing. I have no problem with a mask. I don't think you need one when you're tested all the time. Everybody around you is tested. You're quite a distance.
Joe Biden has not been tested.
You talk about social distancing. You're away. Like, I watched Biden walk into a stage with his practically, like today, there was almost nobody in the room. He's making a speech, and they have these massive circles, and the circles are very far away from each other to start off with, and then they have just a few people in the audience.
I don't know what's going on with Chris, but someone is saying sorry that's happening, Chris. So I'm sorry, Chris, whatever it is.
And he makes a speech, and he walks onto the stage wearing this massive mask. There's nobody on the stage. And then he takes it off. He likes to have it hang off, usually the left ear. I think it makes him feel good, frankly, if you want
to. Trump knows specifically which ear Biden likes to hang it off. We can fact check that. I think it's at the end of the clip here. Let's see what he put. No, we don't know whether he hangs it off. I just know we have footage of him putting it on. So we'll move on.
Know the truth, and I guess that's okay. But, when there's nobody around, you don't really have to do that. But he feels it's good, and I'm okay with it if he wants to do that. He's got the largest mask I think I've ever seen. It covers up a big proportion
you'll be wearing
of his
a mask
face,
at Walter
and I
Reed?
think he feels he looks good that way.
I walk around with a mask in New York, and I look better. There's no doubt about it. So you will be wearing a mask at Walter Reed on Friday?
Yeah, I think if I'm in the right setting, if I'm with soldiers, people that, I don't want to spread anything, and it's a lot of it's you spreading, not them.
Today's Friday. Did he go to Walter Reed? He's down in Florida, but I don't know anything about Walter Reed.
Spreading, it's you spreading. No, and I don't want to cause a problem for anybody. No, I have no problem with.
Is there some sort of center in Florida called the Walter Reed Center that with which I'm unfamiliar?
Masks, but it's got to be done at the right time. Now, I'm usually fairly isolated as the president, so I'm fairly isolated. Everybody's tested before they come in.
I wasn't allowed to go around you until I got a test. So
No, I know, but it's they do a great job. They really do a great job. No, I have no problem with masks. It's up to you.
Let me ask you this. I know when you built all of these hospitals, you brought in the Navy ship for...
Well, that was 5 minutes for nothing. Are you okay with the masks? Yeah, I'm okay with the masks. Okay, moving on.
New York, you built the hospital, you built 3,000 beds at the Javits Center. They only used 1,000. They only used like 200 on the Comfort. But you also manned those beds. You also provided the PPE, but you also converted both the ship and the Javits Center, 3,000 beds. They only used 1,000 to COVID capability. Now, my understanding is you had to change the ventilation system to actually make that happen. Does that, and there are reports maybe the RNC is exploring an outdoor venue for the convention in Jacksonville. Are you convinced, or the experts telling you the ventilation systems need to be up to a certain standard? I'm not an expert on it.
Well, ship ventilation systems very much, they circularize, and they're very much under review, to be honest with you. But we did a great job with the Comfort. We did a great job with the Mercy of the Comfort, and
First off, someone said the way he talks, he probably spits up a lot on the microphone. Yeah, you can hear him spit, specifically with this phrase, and I kind of understand what he's saying here, but...
I'm not an expert on it.
Well, ship ventilation systems very much, they circularize, and they're very...
Circularize. It's a fancy word for circulate. Very much maybe if you very much circulate, then you're circularizing. I'm not supposed to make fun of his slur, but come on, people.
Much under review, to be honest with you. But we did a great job with the Comfort. We did a great job with the Mercy and the Comfort. You know, in Los Angeles, we had a great ship, a sister ship.
And it should be back there.
A really terrific operation. But when we moved it in, they didn't send us people. And then they said, could you convert it to COVID? Because it wasn't meant for that. It was meant for
Yeah, can somebody look up circularize and see if that is a word? I don't want to,
operations. But it wasn't getting used, and so the governor asked if we could convert it for COVID, and we did, and they didn't use it. And we took the Javits Center, did a phenomenal job in record-setting time. A matter of days, we converted it into a massive, like 2,600 units, and they didn't use it, or very little did they use it. I said, what are you doing with all of these requests, and then you're not using it? What's going on? And if they...
That's really, really good. Rather than criticize them for it, say, great, you managed to keep it under control. Hey, people of New York who stayed inside your apartments, including Goldie, good job. Goldie stayed inside her apartment and stopped the spread. Fantastic job, Goldie, is what Trump should be saying. Instead, he says, what are you doing? You're making all these requests and then nobody's dying. What the fuck, people?
They would have used that instead of nursing homes. They wouldn't have lost thousands of people in the nursing homes. They could have put people in Javits Center, or they could have put them on the ship.
So, Barb, it is a word. It's a transitive verb. To send circulars to. So the little folding things, the advertisements you get in the mail. To poll by questionnaire. To publicize. To make circular. So in ships, the air systems, they publicize. So I stand corrected. Man, do I feel stupid.
But they put them back in nursing homes, and they were badly...
Yeah, Goldie, we can see you through your microwave. So wave.
...infected, and then they ended up hitting the people that are most vulnerable, and thousands of people died.
Thousands died. It was the worst decision, and it was made by New York Governor Cuomo and Pennsylvania Governor Wolf and Murphy and New Jersey and Michigan Governor Whitmer. Let me ask you about today's Supreme Court decisions and rulings. Mark Levin was talking about it as it relates to sort of a mixed bag of verdicts, 7-2 decisions, and one would send things back.
Well, at random, everybody knows that. Biochemistry, you make it to a circular loop with the DNA, or in this case, RNA, if it's a virus. So, yeah, duh.
To the lower court, but open up the possibility of at least some of your taxes being revealed to a prosecutor in the Southern District of New York, and the other saying no to Congress. They don't have a right to that information. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I'm under tax audit, okay? So, I mean, the IRS treats me just like they used to treat the Tea Party, except worse. And I'm under tax audit. I have been for a long period of time. We made a deal a long time ago, and once I ran for politics, that deal was like we didn't make it. So I'm under a continuing audit, and anybody that...
Does anybody have background on that? What deal he made with the IRS, and then he became president, and then the deal was off? The hell is he talking about?
Did that or showed that before you have it finalized, but they treat me horribly, the IRS, horribly. It's a disgrace what's happened. We had a deal done. In fact, I guess it was signed even. And once I ran or once I won or somewhere back a long time ago, everything was like, well, let's start all over again. It's a disgrace.
What?
So I was disappointed, and at the same time, it was because I think a president should get protection from thousands of prosecutors out there, thousands all over the country. They could go after you, and you're supposed to be running the country. I'll tell you, Justice Alito.
Yes, the Supreme Court decided that, yes, a municipality can go after a president. They can subpoena a president and investigate a president. That's what the Supreme Court was saying. Well, the argument was from Sekulow, his lawyer, there's 2,000 jurisdictions. What if they all sued the president? Here's the thing. Donald Trump is the first president to get sued by a jurisdiction, a local jurisdiction, in the history of the United States. So it's not like everyone's out there going like, hey, we should sue Trump for evidence. There has to be a crime committed in order to have that happen.
Wrote
So, I don't know, I'm guessing the takeaway would be stop criming?
Totally brilliant decision. He wrote something today that really got
Smart
it.
man.
Justice Thomas, likewise, was great. They were the
Another
two
smart man.
that came. So it was.
They were the two that came.
Look, it basically sends it all back, and we start all over again. I guess that's what it means.
Let me ask you about some new information we have as it relates to the deep state, as we call it.
Oh, so I was talking yesterday, guys, about this being a win for Trump, but only a win in terms that it's probably not going to come out before the election. No one's going to see his taxes before the election. This is going to be held up in court, and they'll push it past the election because courts will defer to not wanting to affect the election one way or the other, and that worked out really well last time with the FBI not announcing that it was investigating Trump. But very bad for Trump and bad for the country because, A, he's going to do anything to get elected again because now that he knows his taxes will go to the Southern District of New York and he will be prosecuted. They're looking for those in evidence to use against him as individual one in the Michael Cohen case of Stormy Daniels being paid off to manipulate the election because they can see, did that come out of your business? Did that come out of this? He's claimed it came out of one location. It didn't. And they're trying to prove everything. They're trying to connect the dots with the paperwork trail. And once you have the paperwork trail, you can nail somebody. So he's just trying to stay out of prison. And now he knows he's going to go to prison if he doesn't win. So he will do anything at this point in order to win, which is exactly the same as it was yesterday. Or 2 days ago. Or when he was talking to Zelensky.
We now know that George Papadopoulos, that exculpatory evidence was withheld. We now know in the case of General Flynn, exculpatory evidence was withheld. And I'll get specifically into that January 5th meeting in the White House with Barack Obama and Joe Biden. And still, I mean, the judges, even the Department of Justice said it's time to let that case go. Both parties, when they say that, usually it ends it, but the judge has a vendetta clearly against General Flynn. Then we have
a vendetta or wanting to see justice take its course, either one, whatever you want to call it.
I thought we were guaranteed the right to a fair and impartial jury, and we discovered that the jury foreperson in the Roger Stone case literally was speaking out publicly in the most negative terms against Roger personally and any Trump supporter. The judge refused to grant him a new trial, which to me is unfathomable. I would give that right to every American if somebody's by.
Well, it's not just the foreman who votes in a jury trial. First off, nonsense, what Hannity's saying. Secondly, 12 people voted. Was he found guilty on 7 counts? And it has to be unanimous. Unanimous? Is that even? Nothing sounds right today. Moving on.
Highest on the jury, that case is out. And then you have, of course, dragged out of mothballs the Manafort issue. There's been some reports, especially about Roger Stone. Do you have any plans to either commute sentences or any plans to pardon any of these men?
Well, first of all, President Obama and Joe Biden spied on my campaign. They knew everything that was going on.
They did not.
They were in the rooms when everyone was talking about it. These people all work for them. I know how the White House works. I guess I can say now better than anybody. And they knew everything that was going on. They spied on my campaign. I said it a long time ago. Nobody believed me, and now it turns out to be fact. So let's see what happens. But they were the head of it, and it was Comey and Brennan and everybody else, Clapper, and those guys all lied to Congress, and bad things happened, and Strzok and Page, the two lovers, and many other people. When you look at I could go down a list of lots of people. They were spying on my campaign. It was totally illegal. If that were the other way around, the people would be in jail for 50 years, and it would have started 2 years ago. It's a disgrace what's going on. We caught them 100%. As far as General Flynn, he's a...
If only he was the head law enforcement officer in the country.
A great hero. He's a great gentleman. What they're doing to that man, they've destroyed that man, but he'll come back. He's going to come back.
You know, the one I fired.
Roger Stone was treated very unfairly, unbelievably unfairly, and I watched that, and I thought it was incredible the way that man was treated.
He's about to go to jail, you know that.
Including with the jury forewoman who was... It was disgraceful. And the judge, the way she treated him, I think it was a disgrace that they didn't give him a retrial. Rogers.
Yeah, so I think this is what's going to happen with Stone. They've asked for an extension for him to have to do the sentence, report to prison, etc. And I think that's now in September. They will attempt to push that back even further, and even if they don't get the judge to push it back any further than that, or maybe end of July, whatever it is. But here's my thinking on that. It's hard to send anyone to prison right now because the prisons are releasing people. Unless, for some reason, you're Michael Cohen and Trump doesn't want you to publish your book, then you go to prison when you show up to report because you went to a restaurant. Which I'm all like, yeah, send Cohen to jail. I don't care. But right now we have this COVID outbreak. So I don't think Trump is going to pardon him until after the election. I mean, once the election's over, it's boom. I will give everybody, all of my guys, whether he wins or not, because he doesn't have to run again. But he doesn't want to pay a political cost. He does not care about anyone else above himself enough to even pull his, what's the word, hangnail.
Papadopoulos, I mean, they have a tape of his conversation. If anything, he's...
What was Tuesday? I don't know. Tell me about Tuesday, Ruth Ann.
Like, it was a...
Does he have to report Tuesday? Did they change that? What are we talking about?
Perfect, as I said about my conversation, I turned out to be right. It was a perfect conversation that Papadopoulos had, and they destroyed him too and put him in jail for 2 weeks. So these people and Paul Manafort, what they did to that man is a disgrace.
Have you thought about pardons or commutations at all?
Oh, no, you're absolutely right.
I am always thinking.
Okay, they had tried to push to September for Stone. It's supposed to be Tuesday. So, yeah, this Tuesday, which is what, the 12th or the 14th? The 14th. I much more care about the NHL going to report on Monday to training camps.
I am always thinking. So you'll be watching like everybody else in this case. You'll be watching. But Roger Stone, Papadopoulos, Manafort, what they did to that man, putting him in solitary confinement. Al Capone, the great gangster, the ultimate gangster, was never in solitary confinement. You know, what they did to him was just incredible. And, you know, look, it's a very sad thing. Here's a group, we have them cold. They lied.
Who's he talking about there?
Ultimate gangster. Everybody else in this case, you'll be watching. But Roger Stone, Papadopoulos, Manafort, what they did to that man. I hope that Lindsey...
Oh, they put Manafort in solitary because he was using other prisoners to threaten witnesses. And he was also doing this. He would write things. He's not allowed to communicate with the outside world except by phone during certain times, and he can communicate with his lawyers. So his lawyers would bring in a laptop. He would have a laptop. He would just trade laptops with them and then write all his correspondence. And he was having lawyers come on a regular basis, basically just delivering his email for him.
Graham does something with the Judiciary Committee. We have all the evidence they need. Now, maybe they're getting new stuff. I let them handle that. But the Judiciary Committee should act. And
I would say this.
You know, like people don't like to say it's President Obama. He knew everything. He was probably in charge of it or was in charge of it. Joe Biden, you know, I don't know if he knows where he is, but he was there. He knew everything.
They've taken an interesting tack that's very difficult to actually go through with, saying that Biden is doing something but doesn't know what he's doing. Well, Biden knew everything, but he has no idea what's going on. You can't have it both ways. Pick either nuts or vindictive. You can't do both.
Well, he lied. Joe Biden lied to George Stephanopoulos when he said, I know nothing. But, you know, the notes from Peter Strzok were clear about the January 5th meeting. Now, the case against Flynn was to be dropped on January the 4th. Strzok and Comey brought it back to life. But in that meeting in the Oval Office, we know that it was Biden that said, oh, what about bringing up the Logan Act from 1799? We know that Obama was saying maybe we shouldn't tell the incoming administration. Obama said, we want our guys on this.
We have a scrawled note from Peter Strzok, just written in pencil or pen or whatever it was. We have a photocopy of it. And all it says is, VP Logan Act, ? We don't know what happened in that meeting. And an easy way to find out, just subpoena the people involved. Have them go talk before Congress. You know, back when people would pay attention to congressional subpoenas.
Sally Yates testified she was shocked that Obama knew every aspect of the call. Add to that, we know that premeditated fraud was committed on the FISA court. We know there was Russian interference. We had a Clinton bought and paid for lying dossier. We know obstruction happened with her.
Where would Sean Hannity get the idea that you're supposed to buy things but not pay for them?
With the deleted emails and bleach-bitten hammers, and we know that there was a quid and a pro and a quo with Joe and Zero Experience Hunter. There's no doubt that there's, in my mind, a double standard. To me, one of the biggest opponents you have in 117 days is, well, I call them the media mob. What is your thoughts on the media these days? Because they don't seem to care about obstruction or Russian interference or quid pro quos if it's a Democrat.
And by the way, Christopher Steele was just adjudged guilty in London or wherever on what he said about other people with his fake dossier, his phony, disgusting dossier. And he's a part of it, too. There are many people that are a part of it that you didn't even mention. You don't have enough time. They've all been caught. Now, let's see what happens. But they've all been caught, and they spied on the campaign. And you could call it treason. You could call it many different things, but it's very serious. And so far, nothing's happened because the other side is vicious, and I guess the Republicans, they're just not vicious. They're just not. It's very sad to see. But we have some great ones, though. I'll tell you, when you see Jim Jordan and you see Meadows and you see Devin Nunes and you see many of them, Lee Zeldin, and Kevin is fantastic. Kevin McCarthy, what a job he's doing. We have some great ones, but they're straight players. You know, they're very straight players. And the other side, they are not straight players. It's a disgrace what's happening. And then you look at what's going on in Democrat-run cities and how horrible it is. And the media is...
That is true. I've long suspected Jim Jordan is just playing straight.
It's totally corrupt. When I say totally, largely. There are some very fine people I know in the media, some very honorable people, but largely it's corrupt. Not even fake, it's corrupt.
No, they never cared about the Russian dossier that was never verifiable because it was all false, used as a basis of a FISA warrant. You're correct.
Much of it was actually real, like the part about Russia wanting to make Trump. I mean, that's the core of the dossier, and that was accurate.
That was to get a FISA application to spy on your campaign, your transition team, and, in the words of the Attorney General Bill Barr, deep into your presidency. And we are awaiting the work of Prosecutor John Durham. We'll see where that goes. Attorney General Barr said that this is not about a report. It's a criminal investigation. But again, that is beyond, I guess, my pay grade. I asked you a question in Wisconsin, and you got criticized for the answer. I want to ask you again. You're now asking him.
Oh, this is what are you going to do in your second term? This was the answer where he said, what did he say? Talent is more important than experience. And then talked about the economy, didn't answer. Gave three answers that had nothing to do with what are you going to do in your second term. And then Eric Bolling gave him literally a second chance. I'm going to give you a second chance at this question. And he went right back into, well, these are the things that I have done. Let's see if he has something softballed here for the future.
America in 117.
He's just going to say, I'm just going to continue doing whatever it is. And he's going to go off on a tangent and probably blame China. Let's find out.
Days to give you a second term as President of the United States. What is your second term agenda?
Well, first of all, I didn't know I was criticized for that answer because it's a simple question. First of all, we're going to defeat the invisible enemy, and that we're well on our way. And as again, I told you, the mortality rate is tenfold down.
Nope.
We're going to rebuild the economy. We're going to bring back jobs from all of these foreign lands that have stolen our jobs on horrible trade deals.
That's what he said the first time.
We're going to continue to make great trade deals. We're going to finish rebuilding our wall. We're going to finish. We're going to have that.
Rebuilding
It's going to be almost complete by the end of this year. Shortly thereafter, it's finished. It's made a tremendous difference. You see, we're doing record numbers on the border. Very few people are able to get through. We're rebuilding with our military. We've rebuilt the military. 2.5.
Yeah, we've rebuilt the military, and we're going to rebuild the military.
$5 trillion. We're fixing up the VA for our vets. What the job we've done there.
We've already done the job, and we're going to fix it up.
Between choice and accountability, we have choice.
President Obama, 2014.
Where they can go out and get a doctor if they're sick. They don't have to wait.
He's doing it again. Just anybody at the White House could say, you know what we should do? Here's the thing. What's a trigger point? Oh, we're going to work to make abortion more pro-life. Pro-life. You're going to say you're going to be the pro-life president. Come on, this is your base. Let's go. Here's one thing. Or a better trade deal with African countries. The up-and-coming African countries, we're going to help them build. We're going to make sure that America, because China is taking over Africa right now. There's a great platform, sir. Nope. Going to talk about the VA choice that happened in 2014.
For 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 weeks. So we're doing great with the vets, and the vets are loving Trump. We're protecting our Second Amendment, so important. We need more judges and more justices. You see that now with the Supreme Court more than ever. And the next president, I've had two.
The two people he nominated for the Supreme Court, they voted against him yesterday.
And the next president's going to be able to pick 2 or 3 or 1 or whatever, but a lot of justices. And that means everything, whether it's for life or other things. I mean, it means so much. But protecting the Second Amendment, getting more judges, all of the things that we've done, nobody has done what this administration has.
All of the things that we've done. That's not the question.
Has done in the first 3.5 years. Nobody's even come close. When you look at everything that we're doing now, what we're doing is working on lowering drug prices, and
that's part of what we're doing right now.
Knocking out special interests because it's not easy. We're fighting for.
Oh yeah, clean up the lobbyists. You said you were going to do that. Nothing has been done in terms of lobbying. That could be something for the second term.
Choice. We did it for the veterans.
Infrastructure. Thank you, Ruth Ann. Let's rebuild this country. Let's get this country back on the right track and let's rebuild it. Words that don't mean anything, but yeah, infrastructure week.
Veterans, now we're doing it for school too. We want choice in school so a parent can take their child to a school of their choice, and that's happening very good, very, very well. And we have many things that we're doing and many things that we've already completed. And you can't do more than what we've done. I think we've said. Oh,
there it is. You can't do more. We've done everything we can do. Good night, folks. Drive safely. He said it.
Records on we actually set a record on judges. We're going to be, by the time of the end of this year, we'll be up to almost 300 federal judges. And that's a record. That's incredible, including D.C.
Where do you see the economy come November 3rd, Election Day? And in terms of, we talk about a V-shaped recovery, we broke a record in terms of retail sales. They expected a 9.5 million job loss. You got a 2.5 million job gain, followed up by about a 5 million job gain.
Yep.
Personally, I didn't think we'd see numbers like that till the earliest of August. Where do you see the economy? Where will we be with the border wall? How many miles come November 3rd?
Okay, well, first of all, the border wall is doing incredibly well. We're moving along, and we are up to about 250 miles already. We'll have, by the end of the year, it'll be close to finished. It might take an extra couple of months, but we'll have it, and it's had a huge impact already because we're about halfway finished. The economy, it's the thing. The economy is starting to really do great. We're going to have a great third quarter. We're going to have a great fourth quarter. And next year is going to be the best, I think, one of the best years that we've ever had. And that's the way it looks. You know, the two job numbers that you mentioned, the 2.8 and the almost 5 million, those are record numbers in history. We've never created jobs to the level that we have now. And before the China plague came in, the China virus, whatever you want to call it, came in, we were beating everybody so badly, including China. We were beating everybody. China had the worst year they had. The tariffs have hurt them. They had the worst year they've had. We've taken in billions and billions of dollars in tariffs. They had the worst year in 67 years, whereas we had the best year we've ever had. And then we got hit with the plague. But now we're rebuilding it, and it's going much faster than anybody thought possible, a V.
All right, we have less than a minute.
I'm going to fact check that, and yes, he is absolutely right. The plague is going much faster than anyone thought possible.
Work with Kanye West and Kim Kardashian for criminal justice reform. I also put in your executive order of police reform, but now Kanye apparently is running for president. What's your reaction?
Well, I like his voice being heard, but he's always going to be for us. I mean, he's going to be for us, and his wife is going to be for us.
He just said he wasn't.
He said he's taken off the red hat.
The problem, he's missed some states, little thing like that. He's missed a few states, like about 12. So you have to do that. But he's a very good guy. He is a person that I get along with very well, and in the end, I think he would support us over anyone else. But, if he does or not, look, we have to stop the radical left from taking over our country, ripping down our great heroes. They're ripping down our heroes. When they take down those statues and those monuments, when they take down George Washington and they take down Abraham Lincoln and Ulysses S. Grant, and when they take down these people, and abolitionists, people that... Think of it, abolitionists, because I think most of them don't even know what they're doing.
Well, I will tell you, Dr. Alveda King...
And we're not going to be Venezuela.
I did like what Dr. Alveda King said, and that one, she's a friend of the program, is that, this garden of heroes that will represent every American from every background. Mr. President, we have gone just a little long here. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you being with us. And 117 days to go. All right.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you.
We're 26 days away. Live free.
We're 26 days away? What? 126.
Or America dies. From every background. Mr. President, we have gone just a little long here. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you being with us. And 117 days to go. All right.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you.
We're 26 days away. Live free or America dies. Hannity.com. Let not your heart be troubled. Laura Ingraham.
I don't know what that is. That's something else. But yeah, 116 days away from ejection day right now. So stay strong, people. There is a Garden of Heroes in Brooklyn, Ruth Ann, full of American heroes. Okay, let's do this. Let's quickly, I know it's Friday and you guys want to get going back to lockdown. Let's take a look at some of the stuff going around the country. Let me take my headphones off for this because they're starting to hurt my little ears. CCM is a hockey company, for those of you asking. Okay, so let's pull up people's states if you want to do that. First, let's take a look at the overall picture right here. That's about Jared Kushner. Okay, here we go. So that's what we're looking at right now. Does anybody want me to make that bigger? Yeah, why not? Let's zoom in for you guys. Boop, 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 boop. Same story. Up, 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 up. Just keeps going up. Let me get off of there. Yeah, so what are we on? 60,000 cases yesterday, according to the New York Times. I've seen as high as 63, so... All right, so we're moving on in that respect. Anybody got a state they want to see? Let's take a look at the Florida today. Actually, I'm not even sure these... the topo seems to be just a little bit behind, but we're going to go with it anyway. No, they're up to date right now. So, yeah, Florida is up 1,193%. That's almost 12-fold. That's the way map. I'm done. Guys want to see anything? Because I can't talk anymore. It's the door buzzer. Hold on a second, guys. I think the Amazon package is here. Give me a second. Okay, that's an Amazon package, I think. What do you got? New York and New Jersey. New York started to go up the other day. Let's take a quick look there and see what's going on. York. Minus 52%. Yay for New York. You guys are... Do anybody else want to see their state? Let me look at California, because I know that a bunch of people want to see California. California, there I'm not, 262%. But leveling out the last couple of days, but then with two towers, so who knows? Who knows, people? Okay, hey, folks watching out there, if you're not in the chat room, thank you very much for being here. If you want to support this sort of thing, usually it goes a little bit more smoothly than this. It's a Friday, and honestly, like 10 minutes before the broadcast, I didn't even know it was a Friday. Time has no meaning anymore. You can go to kevinleefather.com and you can become a patron. And we have lots of wonderful patrons like this. We'll take a look at Pennsylvania Jana in just a second. You can become a patron like our new resistor, Allison S., who is also a PayPal at the same time. First she went to PayPal, and then she's like, oh, I should go check out the Patreon thing. So she gave a bunch of money on PayPal. We really appreciate it. And then said, I'm also going to do the monthly thing. So she's one of the new resistors, and I think the credits have been updated. Again, today everything is off. I don't know whether the update took or not, but we'll take a look at that when we play it. And producer Joanna is here, so she gets to see her credits for the first time in real time. Pennsylvania is down 6.3% overall, but they're creeping up again. So Pennsylvania, get your act together. There is a new Billy Joel vote. It's up right now, Rich. So guys, go to we're in the Elite Eight. This is it. We've whittled it down to 8 teams now with Billy Joel. Let me pull that up quickly for you guys, and I'll tell you what the vote is today. If you want to see what the Billy Joel vote is, it's really simple. Just go to hashtag Billy Joel Madness, and it'll come up. Go to the latest button there on the Twitters, not the top. So right now it's Don't Ask Me Why against Vienna. Vienna is winning 61-38. So get in there and cast your vote. That'll end at 5 or 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Vienna versus Don't Ask Me Why. Yeah. Everybody wear a mask. That's right. Let's go back to the topos. Did anybody else want to see a state? I didn't see any, but I didn't necessarily notice everybody too. I'm almost out of my gin. I don't know what color gin is. Is gin white? Is gin clear? What would that be? Whiskey. I'm almost out of whiskey. That's the end of my whiskey, so I think we're going to wrap this up tonight. Go to BillyJoelMadness.com. This is why I'm wearing a hat today, people. This is my Friday. I'm going to change out of my pajamas. I'm going to take a shower first. That's a lot of white forehead there. And I'm going to get my weekend started. Woo! Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Party and party and yeah, party and party. If you don't know that song, and it's a real earworm, you probably know this one. Baby Trump do 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 do, baby Trump do 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 do, baby Trump do 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 do, baby Trump. Stupid Trump do 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 do, stupid Trump do 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 do. Sorry everyone. Have a great weekend.